Hey guys, what's up? This is Russianalex Productions, and today I'm bringing you a tutorial that someone requested. I'm not going to disclose their name because they chose not to be disclosed on my video, but I had a request about a tutorial on how to do these 3D shadows and reflections that you see here on the screen. Now I'm going to show you the final product video that I have right here, and from there we'll just go ahead and I'll show you how to do the reflections. Now I'm not going to show you the whole project because that will kind of reveal like how I made this whole scene and how I set it up, but I'm just going to show you the basics in Ray Trace 3D, the new option in Adobe After Effects CS6, and how you enable it and how you do the reflections. So let's start, shall we? So as you can see, there's reflections. It's reflecting on the wall and on the floor, and it's real-time movement, you know, real-time. And this is all done in Adobe After Effects CS6, thank God, right? Now you would think that this would be done in Cinema 4D, but no way, Jose, not anymore. Anyway, so let's start, shall we? I just created a little square, and yeah, I just created a little square here, so don't pay any attention to that because I was just trying to reset up all these squares. So anyway, first, what you need is a solid layer. If you are trying to make a solid on the screen, you need a solid layer. So we can see that I have a blue square right here, a blue solid layer, and if, let's just say, you haven't enabled the 3D layer yet, right? You have to enable it so you can actually see it in Ray Traced 3D, as you can see right here. So if you enable it, it will show the object in 3D, as you can see there. Next, what you want to do, you go to material options. Oh, actually, let me tell you this. Before you enable the 3D, you're not going to see the contents, transform, geometry, or material options. Well, maybe you'll see contents and transform, but you will not see geometry and material options. How you enable it and how you can see it is by clicking the 3D layer, and if you can't see it here, you can just go to layer, 3D layer, click on it, and then it'll transform it or convert it to a 3D layer. Next, what you need to make sure that you have enabled is that the objects that you have selected casts shadow. Originally this is going to be off. Now there's off, there's on, and there's only. That means that only this object casts shadows. You want it on for all objects, for the whole layer that you've just made. Now the light transmission, if you have any light layers coming through, you might want to mess with that. This object needs to accept shadows, needs to accept lights, and needs to appear in reflections. Okay? So what I did for these cubes is I put the metal to 100%, the reflection intensity to 100%, and the reflection sharpness as well as the reflection roll-off to 180%. Transparency is 0 because of course you can see the object in full opacity, so it's not absolutely transparent at all. And I believe I put the reflection to 1.0. Now you might be wondering, you have a screen in front of you, you probably have a one colored wall or just one adjustment layer in the back or one solid layer, whatever you have. It's only one color. It's not like a gradient. It doesn't reflect, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't look as 3D like this. I'm talking about this, guys, the floor and the wall. How you make it 3D and how you make it reflect and show reflections that you just made. Let's just select our shape. I believe it's this. Yes, it is. And also, you have to enable it as a 3D layer, because if you do not enable it as a 3D layer, it's not going to show any options such as transform, geometry options, and material options. Now that's the main thing that you need to do, because without that, you're not going to get any reflections. In fact, you're probably not going to get any 3D like shapes at all. Okay, and what I did after that, this object does not need to cast shadows, because you know we just need reflections. We don't need shadows because it's going to be like a dark spot. It does accept shadows, it does accept lights, it does appear in reflections, and these settings, depending on how clear you want the reflection to be, in the solid. You can just mess around. I didn't mess around with any of this, but I did mess around with the reflection intensity and reflection sharpness a bit. I put the reflection intensity to 25% since I don't want them to be seen dramatically, and as we can see here, if I put it to 75%, I believe that you will see them appear darker and more vivid. So I don't want that. I want 25% is fine with me, just so you can barely see it. And transparent index of refraction, it's also 1.0. Okay, so that's how I did my reflections, and pretty much the cubes I'm not gonna go over because that's just gonna take ages to go over. I don't really remember myself how to do them since this project was done over a year ago, but I did save the project, so I'm kind of happy for that, since I can just like give you guys an idea of how to do the reflections and everything like that. As you can see, the Ray Trace 3D takes a while to render because it uses all the Adobe After Effects CS6 render engine parts or components that came out with a new version of CS6. And it's really tough on the computer, so let me just warn you, you better have a powerful computer for the Ray Trace 3D because it's going to affect your computer speed a lot while you do that, and depending on how fast your computer is, it might or might not render it the way you want it to. So just saying. And also what helps is if you put this to quarter or third or half, but definitely not full, because if you put on full, it's gonna take a while to render just one frame of the video. And I'm sorry if you guys hear my dog barking in the background. It's just going off like crazy. But see what I mean? It takes such a long time, so be careful with that. You want it to quarter. Okay guys, so this was my tutorial that I replied to with someone requesting on how to do the Ray Trace 3D reflections on the screen, and I hope I helped. If not, send me another message on how I can describe this more, and request more tutorials, guys, because I would be happy to make more. So you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.